Hello and welcome to Crafting with Jane. We're playing again with the All and Create stamp sets, and this time I thought I would just use one stamp set and show you a fun card. This one is called House of Butterflies, and the operative word is house because these will make little houses. So what I've done is I've cut this one out and I've cut this one out. So if I show you, I've cut this shape out and I've cut this shape out. We're going to colour them in and we're going to put them down as a little row of houses. Now I've got my little pot that I keep turning around and saying that I put all little bits and things that I've got scraps over, and then I will stamp and cut out. So this is, I thought I'd put it on here to show you. This is sort of a little scrap that I've got over from doing something. I will then, before I've finished, while I've got my inks and things out, I will stamp some shapes and things on there from some of these sets, and then either cut them out completely or just rough cut them, put them in the little pot, and then I've got half my work done for me. Exactly the same as this background. If you remember, go back a few videos and you'll see that I did this background, which is a one sheet wonder. I've just realized that is completely not straight. So yes, it was a one sheet wonder, and all I did was stamp it and brayer it, stamp it, and do everything just on one sheet. So that made it really rather fun, and it made, I'm just making sure that I get this down because this is not quite straight. That's better. I just wanted to make it saves time, is what I'm trying to say. You know, when you want to craft, sometimes if you're faced with a blank piece of paper, you go, oh, what am I going to do? Whereas if you've got something that you can actually start with, then you sort of go like, oh, actually, maybe I can do this. So I've got to work out whether I'm going to have it this way up or that way up. I think this way up because I like the H on there. So I have coloured a few of them, but I've left the last couple to do with you. So these are going to be the houses. So we can move that out of the way for the time being. So these two houses, we've got a roof and we've got a base. So what I thought is I would do a red brick roof or a red tiled roof. So I've literally got, these are my Derwent Inktense, and this is Poppy Red. I know quite a few of you have got the Inktense pencils because they are just so vibrant. You know, they give really bright colours. So if you want muted colours, you can do them very, very softly, but I quite like, if I'm doing pencils, to have some really vibrant colours, and quite often you end up colouring and colouring and colouring and you don't get the brilliance that you need. So this, I'm literally just doing it really simply, straight across the top, filling in the middle, coming down on this side. I probably need to sharpen them at the moment, and then I'm just doing these little bits at the bottom of the house which will colour in quite nicely once I add the water in. And then the other colour I'm using is Sherbet Lemon, which is a nice sort of yellow. So again, all I'm doing is just colouring quite quickly just in on here. You don't need to spend a huge amount of time. You can if you want lots of shading and things like that, but this is just a quick card when you want a card in a rush, and you don't want to spend too much time doing it. It's the sort of thing that if you've got a little bit of preparation beforehand, so if you've already got some pieces cut out because you've got pieces that you have, then it doesn't take very long at all. So those are those two pieces. Let me just put my base bit in there for now, and then I'm just going to take my water brush and just turn round and do these. Now I've done the other ones as well. I haven't watered them, So I thought we could do that together so I can show you how I do it quickly when I'm in a hurry. So I'm taking those all onto one side, and I'm literally just going to do all of the red at the same time. So just taking that up, and you can see as soon as you start adding your water to it, you get this gorgeous, really, really bright red colour. Now, because I'm going down to the edges on this, I'm just going to turn it so I get the edges on there, and I can go up and do the colouring this way as well, just to make sure I've got everything in. Then I'm going to go straight on to the next one. So just need to make sure I've got a little bit of water coming down, not a lot, because I like it fairly dry. Because if you're using watercolour paper, fine, you can have it as dark as wet as you want. If you're using just normal cardstock, which is what this is, and it's not even thick cardstock, it's probably only about 120, maybe 180 GSM. You then don't want to have too much water, otherwise your paper won't take it, and it starts to sort of buckle or pill, or just it doesn't like it very much. So I tend to do it just with a almost dry brush, not one that is. So some of my water painters, like this one, are quite old, and you'll find that the barrel gets a little bit not blocked, but it doesn't, you can't squeeze it and lots of water will come out. That's the one that you want to use for this, or just use a paintbrush and just make sure you haven't got too much water on, because if you have too much water, you'll end up, as I say, with it being too wet and it can buckle, and then it doesn't work very well. Whereas this, you can see it's literally just giving me the amount of colour that I want. So that's red, and as I say, you could do shading and stuff if you want to. I'm not. I'm literally just cleaning it off on the back of my hand, which is what I do quite often, and then we're going to go through and we're going to do the bottom part, which we've coloured in the sherbet. So again, just taking it down round on the edges and up this way, and you can see again I've got a little bit too much water on here, but that's only because I was squeezing it to do my clean the brush off. So you can see how it's just bending up a little bit. So I'm hoping that if I don't squeeze any more, that then it will start to be just a little bit drier and it won't bend up too much. You can see it is a little bit, but I think that that will be fine, because I just don't want to, as I say, have too much on there, because you will then, as I say, your paper won't like it. If you're using watercolour, absolutely fine, it's designed to take lots of paper. If you're using heavy cardstock, so a 300 GSM, I don't know what they are in pounds in the States, so apologies that I'm saying GSM and you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but they are. You can see how it's drying out a little bit now on here. Just want it round that edge. I just want it round up on this little edge here, but I have to be careful not to touch it with the red, otherwise it'll warp. There we go. Excuse me. So clean that off on the back of my hand. Have to remember to clean it off. The other day I went out and I hadn't cleaned my hand, and somebody said, oh my goodness, you've got a terrible bruise, because I got reds and yellows and greens and things, and it wasn't a bruise at all. It was just me cleaning my aqua painter. Okay, so those are all ready. Now we've got this one, and we said we were going to have it this way up, didn't we? Okay, so what I want to do is I want to just put these, and I'm going to stick them. So I want one this end and one the other end. So I'm just going to literally just take some glue. I would normally wait for them to dry off completely because they're a little bit damp, but for the sake of the video I haven't got the luxury of time, so I'm just doing it as we are. So I want this, I'm not doing it right to the bottom. You'll understand why, because I'm going to be doing a black edging round it, and I'm also going to be doing a black edging round the shapes as well, and that just makes them stand out beautifully. So I want one this end, and I'm going to do the other one this end with the same amount of space in between. So about like that, and then up straight. Okay, so that's two. Then these ones we can have just with the same space. That the center one can be a little bit of a different gap, as long as we have these side ones how we want. So that's going to come to about there. Just making sure that the bottom of it is straight. Like that. The other one the other side. Take the little top bit, put that in there, same distance. Now you can do measuring if you want. I'm very much a as it comes person. So, and then it means that, as I say, if the gap in the center is different, the fact that you've got the outside pieces right, it doesn't matter quite so much. So you've got the same distance between these two roughly. Okay, so I think that works perfectly. Then I've just got this little home is where the heart is, which is from the same one, I think. Is it from the same one? Yes, it is. And that will fit just nicely in there. So I'm just going to do that. Just glue that and put that in. Make quite a good new house. So that can go in like that. Okay, so it looks great, but it can be improved. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my I've already taken it out, ready in preparation. Good grief, it's not like me to be prepared. Okay, these are the Posca pens. I'm always going on about them, but they are absolutely brilliant. And what I want to do is I want to just outline this. So I'm just, and you have to do it quite slowly. You can't rush this. I always do it underneath so I can take the pen up to the edge. Then I can go round. So rather than doing it across the top, I do it like this so that my pen rests along the edge. So as I'm doing it, it means that I know that it's going to come out quite nice and straight. Like that. So that's gone round there. Then I want to do the same round the house. So I'm just taking it and I'm doing it round the edge of the house, all the houses. I just need to make sure that, can you see how it's not wanting to come out? Just add a little bit more on there. Sometimes if it gets a little bit of glue or something in it, then it doesn't want to come out, and that's fine. You just need to make sure that you take it all the way across. So I'm doing all the way around the edges first, and you can do it one way against the other like that. Then I can do these ones I'm not being very noisy because, or talking too much, because I'm concentrating to make sure, because you need to rest your pen gently, but if you rest it, if you do it too quickly, you might get a squiggle off the edge, and then that's not going to do any good at all. So I'm just taking it up there. Get up there, turning it round, and then I can do the other side. So I need to come down here. Down on this side. I'm trying to do it as quickly as I can, but I hope you'll be able to see when I've finished it how that makes it pop just a little bit more, which I think is really quite good. And I could actually just, in fact I'm going to just increase this line here. So I'm just going over that one, and I'm going to just go over this line here, which just gives it, and I'm going to just go along this line. Like that, because that just accentuates it a little bit. I want to try and get these ones as well now. Because by doing that, you're just accentuating, so deepening the colour of just the outline of the roof part. There we go. Okay, so that's just brought it and made it a little brighter. Now we need to take the darker Posca, which is the black one, and you can use the thin one if you want, but I like to use the dark one, and we're going to do round our edges as we normally do, and that will just make it pop. So it's a very simple card, but it looks quite good. You don't have to always have fancy. You can do things where it is just a little bit, and that's why I left the bit at the bottom, so that when I took this I could take it right the way across and it wasn't going to come onto the sides of the bottom of the houses. So that's why I brought them up a little bit, and then I can just put this in on the top like that. And then if I just put this onto a card base, let me just grab a card base from up the top here. Quite a few, one of those ones will do. And pop this on like that, and you can see, very simple but very effective. So home is where the heart is, and you've just got a row of little houses, but quite abstract, funky, modern sort of houses, which, as I say, a lot of card making nowadays is going towards this sort of modern style. So I kind of like it. So hope you enjoyed that. As always, please stay safe and well. Please be kind, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.